What's up, everybody? I want to start by saying Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year.
And let's have a good start, guys. Today, we want to talk about something important as we go into the new year. We want to talk about something that is really going to alter your life or something that might just change it or switch it in another direction so we can continue to make these progressive moves and strive for more as we are figuring out this thing called life, right? So today, for the very first time in this session, we will be talking about purpose. And to introduce purpose for this session, I would like to introduce Artist Cook, who is the founder of the QNA. So, Artist, if you can, just tell us a little more about what QNA is and what was the start of it, what exactly sparked the foundation, and just a little more. What was the motive and intention?
Hello, everyone. I'd first like to say, as Joy did, Happy New Year to everyone. I wish you a happy, blessed, safe, and prosperous one. And let's make it a good year, guys. Thank you for having me on the show. I really appreciate it. I don't take it lightly. I really do appreciate it. And I consider it an honor, especially for where you're going and looking for big things to happen for you in your life in 2021. So grateful to be here from the beginnings of the foundation with Boujee Business. Q&A. Q&A stands for Queens Network Alliance. And basically, what the purpose of that vision is empowerment, and it is to network. I'm a strong believer in no man is an island. Everybody needs somebody to encourage them. It really does. It's not just for children. It really does take a village. It takes a lot of people. It takes team. It takes community to be able to get you where you need to go. So part of the vision of Q&A is the networking, to connect with people who may not have the exact same vision as you, but are on a mission fulfilling that which they've been designed or destined to do, and as well as the alliance. And it's the support group. It's that connect one connect. You may have something that I may need that may, help you get where you're going. There's that connection. It's not always what you know, but it's who you know. And not just to get you in the door, but sometimes who you know has an answer to what it is that you want to do. And I want to say that although Queens Network Alliance has been around, that in itself for about a year and a half, the whole concept and idea has been a part of who I have been probably for the last 15, 20 years of my life. Being able to encourage, I always said I'm like a cheerleader. Part of my mission or my call, I believe, is to support you or encourage you to get you where you need to be. And so it's always been a part of me. I've always done conferences. I've always worked with people where we've done gatherings, we've done fellowships, we've done conferences that call people together, that imparted something that hopefully helped you along in your journey. So it's the whole concept has been around probably, like I said, a good almost 20 years, but Queens Network Alliance has been a year and a half. And in that time, we've probably done 3 brunches, and as well, we practice what we preach. We support. So we support Dream Clouds. We support Karina's Joy. We support Joyful Noise, now Boujee Business. So we always make it a part. We support Selah at Mimi's. Different ones that we know, we support them. So we've done 3 brunches ourselves, but in doing our brunches, we've made sure we had open space for others to come in and work their gift.
So I know you mentioned a lot about the community and just having those networks, and that's a lot of what Q&A is for. And I can say that I've been to a couple events with Q&A and have opened up opportunity to networks, for instance, like publishers, people who do art, artists, people who can go under Joyful Noise. So many people in different frames and our areas and interests. And I really appreciated that because for me, like I mentioned on my last podcast, how it is starting for me as a startup. And one thing, not taking advantage of my college experience has not given me the full access to networks. So a lot of it was me building my own network. So then when I engage or get familiar, join certain groups like Q&A or just communities, it does help build. And the bigger part that we need to focus on with building using these connections is why are we using that? And I guess a big part of me was to help my purpose. It wasn't necessarily just to get something or just to work, but it was to really help my purpose and to figure out more, getting guidance, mentors, any direction, or just like I said, access or tools that I can use to kind of uplift or level up, right? So on that note, how does Q&A feel cater to specifically purpose? I know you talked on just the community building, and a big part of who you are is based on your community. People are products of their environment. So just talking on that, how does Q&A kind of, like I said, cater our home to like I said, our purpose? And also, if you can, give a definition of what purpose is for you. What do you think purpose is?
Excellent. I think it's profound, and I think it's right on time that we would discuss purpose. Many people take this time of year to start doing resolutions and start making that. But I think it's a perfect time of the year, or any time is a perfect time to go back and revisit purpose, to go back. It's a good thing to get refocused on why you're here. I define purpose as very simple. We could get very deep and philosophical, but your purpose is the reason why you're doing something or the reason why you're created. That is the purpose. So you say, what was the purpose in doing that? And then the answer would be, well, to get from point A to point B. What is the purpose in designing or making a car? So that I can commute from this place to this place. The purpose and reason why it is created. And I believe that we all have a reason. I believe you wouldn't be here if you did not have a reason, which is your purpose on why you're here. And your purpose is to drive you, and that should always be your forefront. Like I said, it's a good time to revisit purpose at this season in the beginning of the year, because it should be your driving force. It should be the thing that motivates you, that drives you, that gets you going. It should be the reason why you get up every morning. And part of Q&A is to support, encourage, and empower, but many times it's to come in through the door and even locking hands with dream clouds to help people find their purpose, because you'll be amazed that going through life in many conferences and many conversations that I've had with many people, they don't know their purpose. They don't know the reason why they're here. They don't know what it is. And I can say, biblically speaking, there's a scripture that says, without a vision, the people perish. Without a reason why, without a purpose, you really do die somewhere inside of you. Q&A, that hand involved in that is to help you get to the place to fulfill that purpose. It is to help you get there. Joy and I all of the family, we're indulging in a show called The Vikings. And in the Vikings, there's Ragnar, who is the father. And then he has sons, and they're the sons of Ragnar. And he has 4 of them. And in that, it's so amazing because each one of them is sort of somehow grabbed hold of his mantle. So Ragnar, look, I hate that I'm going to give up the ending. Sorry, guys. Ragnar dies. But it's history, guys. It's not a surprise. It is history. But Ragnar is history. Ragnar dies, and his sons are there to continue his legacy. And each one of them grab a part of his mantle. There's the warrior, there's the philosopher, there's the one that wants to create and build and get land and build on it and settle. Each one of them have that part. But there's and they all grab hold of it, but there's just this one who never completely grabbed hold of his purpose, never understood what he was there for. And in that, to us, he became a wandering soul. He was flipped and flopped every way, every time. I'm on this team. No, I'm on this team. No, I'm fighting with you. No, I'm fighting with you. But tomorrow I'm going to go and kill you. Why? Because there was nothing rooted in him said, my purpose is to do that. Each one of their purposes, one was to settle. One was to be the greatest warrior or Viking that there was. There was a reason that they got up every morning. And I say to you, it's the same thing. Purpose is that every morning you get up. This is why I get up, and this is why I get going. And if you don't have that, life throws. We all know 2020 kicked our behinds, guys. It came in like a whirlwind and it ran roughshod. So much devastation and upheaval happened in the year 2020. And if you were not rooted and grounded, it was so easy to become much like his work, which was the son that could not find a purpose. And you get tossed here and there. But if you have a reason why you keep getting up and doing it, you find the strength to do it. You'll find the wherewithal to do it. And Q&A really is here to help you do that. It is the Queen's Network Alliance, but we don't shun it to just females only. It is an open door. It is for anybody. That is part of my mission, or my purpose is to help you find your purpose and encourage you in it.
So, and it's funny that you brought up Vikings, because in this, like, I believe we had a talk even about this, on just what happens with the purpose, and how having a purpose, or what each purpose was, affected each character. So I want to talk about more, now that you mentioned it, what happens when you don't have a purpose. More about that, to the people who are saying that they don't have a purpose. And let's not necessarily right now focus on how to get to that purpose, but what are the results, or the, I guess, maybe consequences, or what can be the effects, or the, what is it, the domino effect, I guess, of not having a purpose, how this could play into your life, play into your actions, play into your mindset, play into your perspective, play into relationships, play into each thing that kind of just guides your next step. For instance, I'm pretty sure, like, in this Ragnar, being king, he knew, okay, this is my purpose. So, or, and I want to say, when speaking about purpose, sometimes, like you said, it's not just so deep or philosophical. It can literally, when we think of the purpose of papers or work or whatever, it's to inform, it's to entertain, it's to enlighten, it's to do all these little things. So when it comes to all these characters, when, like I said, Ragnar, he's leading, and he takes each step. He doesn't just act off of emotions. He doesn't just act in the moment, or just react to any and everybody. Exactly, because he realized, my purpose is to be king, or at least to lead people right now. So what's the best thing that I can do in order to do that? And obviously we won't always get the right answers, but even just figuring out, moving like that might get you to the closer path, or show you not what to do, show you the mistakes not to make. So like I said, what happens when somebody doesn't have a purpose? Because I see when you look into the Vikings, Hitzer, he has no purpose, and he literally just gets in a whole bunch of trouble, a whole bunch of
drugs and alcohol, and just to a point where it
zoned
takes
out
over him and it zones out. For one, I think that you do, in a sense, become hopeless. You find you and you do find yourself, you really do, like I said, become tossed to and fro. You're with every wind, and you become almost like a lost soul wanderer. You just wander from one place to the next, and it affects how you move, how you live, even the people you connect with. When you have purpose and you're driven, you are strategic in who you connect with. You can look at a person and say, okay, that's a waste of my time, or that, not the person, but just what they're about. It sort of will bring what I'm doing, or it will fault my purpose. It will pull me off track. But when you don't have that, you allow everything to come into your life. It's like all your doors and everything is open, and anything and everything can just come into your life. When you have a purpose, like say you want to be a doctor, and your purpose is to become one who is one of the best surgeons out there. You make sure, even what you put into your body, into your mind, and in your life, you make sure that it's only there to build up and support and help you get to where you're going. And even the people that you, like I said, what you connect with, you don't have that censor, if you will. And not only that, you definitely become a follower. It's every good idea is a good idea, or every idea, period, whether it's good or bad, you go with. Somebody walks upon you and you don't have no purpose. You have no way that you're going. Somebody goes, hey, let's go rob the bank today. And you're like, All right, I guess so. Let's go rob the bank today. Next day, somebody else comes back to you and goes, let's go to college. Not to say that it's a bad time. I'm just saying, whatever's thrown at you, all right, I think that's a good idea. I guess I'm going to go to college today. And then somebody else comes up, you can make a lot of money as a car salesman. You should maybe think about, I'm going to quit college. I'm going to stop robbing the bank because I think today I'm going to be a car salesman. In essence, it's constant and you get nowhere. There's no place, there's no advancement in your life because, like I said, you just become that wandering soul. And it's funny because in the beginning of the year, well, the end of 2020, yesterday, guys, there was on the prayer line, we talked about those breaking patterns and those circles that we seem to keep going round and around and around and getting nowhere. Well, that's what happens when you're that one without a purpose. You're just a wanderer going round and around. And until you encounter somebody or have a wake up, if you will, a moment of, hey, epiphany, I'm here for something. I have these gifts, which let me mention a lot of times people find this difficulty in finding their purpose. It's not that deep. It's what's inside of you because when you were created with the things that you're needed to fulfill your purpose. So you look within yourself and say, I'm good at this. Now, many ways to get to that path. Like I am good with oratory. I'm a speaker. I am one that's going to speak. So whether it's preaching, whether it's doing conferences, whatever it is, my gifting is to be able to speak to people and in speaking to people, help bring life to them. That is part. Now I can choose many channels to do it, but that's the purpose. So you find that gift inside of you and stop wandering. Stop wandering.
So I can be a representation of exactly what happens when you aren't sure what your purpose is. And I can say, like, throughout my college years, I have kind of floated between like many things of what I wanted to do, what I thought I wanted to do, and just all these things really trying to figure out. So I see how that kind of directed my path or just prolonged it of what I wanted to do. And it really was distracting, and I thought of it when we were thinking of the Vikings and how they sail, and sometimes they have a destination of what they think it's going to be, and sometimes they're just like, let's get out of here. If they need to just be safe, then they're like, let's just get. And it brings to this, like, versus when they have a plan, either way you see a boat in this ocean, and when you don't have a plan or you don't have the tools or the reason why you're going or where you're going, you kind of are just getting floated between. Right. You might end up in this spot, you might end up in this spot, but if you have a plan, even if you, like, for instance, some of the sailors or Vikings, when they did have a plan, they reached certain spots but realized, okay, maybe I don't want to go here, let's head out of here, or this is what I was looking for, so we're gonna settle here, And I realized that was very similar to me. I was trying to figure out exactly what I was doing, and at one point I was just getting pushed side to side, and I'm like, okay, maybe I will do this, maybe I won't do this. It worked for them, why wouldn't it work for me? But I realized how that actually it had its pros and cons, because sometimes when, for instance, we can even go to college, on how going into it at first I didn't want to,
Right.
So
She did not want to. She fought.
I didn't, but
And the whole time, not the whole time, but a good amount of years.
into the whole time into the last year.
She did, guys.
But because of all the influences, my sister, my mom, my older cousins, my aunt, everybody telling me, you should do this, and I said, okay, then I'll do it, just because this is what I guess, what I thought, being transparent, I thought, okay, this is what is socially accepted. And if I don't go through this path, then maybe I won't find success. And the worst thing that I don't want to be in is failing and people saying, I told you so, or whatever. But I realized throughout this, it allowed me, even though I didn't want to be in it, but following other people, it allowed me to figure out what I want to do and where I want to be because of the wrong turns. So, sometimes we think we have to make all the right turns to figure out where we want to be, but it's also about making the wrong turns and tripping and, just accidentally falling into your purpose and saying, wow, sometimes, like, say an instance, if someone is, they lose everything, they become homeless, they go into a homeless shelter, and now they have a whole group of possibly women looking at them, talking to them, and next thing you know, they're creating groups and mentorships, and next thing you know, it could be, the biggest talk show. And so it's all about slipping into it. It's not just about just knowing everything, but just, I guess, knowing the direction, or just having some idea, knowing that you don't want to just sit there and do nothing. That's the biggest thing, I guess, while you're trying to figure it out, really just experience life. And what I wanted to say with this is, just going through shifts, what happens? Can you shift vision or purpose? And how do you go about that? Because I know there's been times where I'm like, I want to entertain, but now it's like, I want to inform, or I want to enlighten. But I also, so how, where do we go about that shift? And is it a purpose if it keeps switching? Do you have one purpose for your life? Does it change throughout stages in your life?
Yes. I want okay, so purpose, there's a reason or purpose in this season of your life that you may be in. I do believe that you can transition. Let's say there's a basketball player, and maybe his purpose and his goal is to be the greatest basketball player on earth. And now you're retired. So you're no longer, you fulfilled that purpose. Do you die now? Absolutely not. There's still more life for you. So you evolve into this, and there's still that gift. And so maybe now you become a commentator or a coach, or maybe now you open up, but you're still fulfilling. So you do transition, and then you go through seasons. Sometimes I believe that when you're younger, you have so many gifts, like to somebody like yourself, you have a lot of giftings. So sometimes you think, oh, the gifting, this is my gift, so this must be my purpose. And I think sometimes you just have so much in you that you want to do it all, and then it's learning how to pertain, because sometimes some of those things are for your, if you will, there are some people who have this one thing that they fulfill, and that's their call. They get paid from it and everything. But then in their hobby or their free time or their enjoyment in life, because I think all things are given to enjoy as well, there are some things that you may do. I also think you can capitalize off of absolutely everything that's inside of you. So you can go through seasons of your life or changes of your life when you may retire from this, or you may succeed, or you may, fulfill that portion of it. So now you have to transition, but you take that, what you learn and that, what you've done, and now you evolve into this. And now you revisit, what is my purpose for this season of my life? For every season, there is a purpose. You may do something for 20, 30 years. And like I said, as you evolve, those doors shut, because nothing ever remains the same. And when those doors shut, like I said, you still have life in you. So now it's time to revisit, what am I here for? I want to also go back to, because there's so many people who don't find their purpose, and they wake up and they're miserable. They're absolutely miserable. They get up and they go to this job that they hate. They go home that they hate, and they complain about absolutely everything. And when I find people that I encounter that murmur, complain a lot, it's only because they have not found that thing in life that brings them life. There's this saying that everybody runs around saying, YOLO, YOLO, you only live once. No, you live every day. You wake up and live. You only die once, but you only have your life once. You only have this life journey. You're only going to get one life that you get to go through. And with that, you have to find that place within yourself that you do grab hold of what it is you're here for, so that you don't take this journey of life and live it out miserable, fulfilling, something that somebody else told you. Growing up, I I spoke into my kids' life, because growing up, my parents did not. They didn't have enough to know, to foresee, to say. So I've been telling my children since they were little, about their greatness, about their call, about this, each one of them, I've spoken over their life. I've encouraged them. I started already with my grandchildren. Reason why? Because I want you to know you're here for a reason, and you're here to do something. I didn't wake up until later in my years to find out, hey, I'm here for a reason. But once again, if you find yourself in that miserable state, in that place, I really do want to go back. You need to find what it is, and a lot of times people can help you, but people, have spoken over to your life. You're just like this one, and you're going to end up being this and that and that. And they've decreed something over your life. And now you're starting to live out what they said your life was supposed to be. And I want to encourage you today, they don't get to dictate what your life gets to be. You get to grab hold of your life and live that life out. And going back to your question, yes, purpose does evolve, does change with every season of your life. With every season, there was a season I was a stay-home mom. My purpose at that time was to raise my children and impart and make sure that I nourish them and give them what they need. But my kids got older. And as they grew up, that was no longer my full focus. So what do I die? No. I say, okay, now what it is in this season of my life that I'm supposed to be doing?
So just thinking about that in just the different times and then switching, I want to also speak on collective and into being an individual, and the purpose between each. For instance, we focus on our own purpose, but then we can also focus on the purpose of a woman, or we can also focus on the purpose of parents, or we could focus on the purpose of a friend, so just when it comes down to a purpose as a whole, I want to know, is there a purpose on why we are living? And I know God has given us different reasons and purpose for our own, but as a whole, what do you think our purpose is to be here? The reason that we are even given life. What, and I know it's a deep question to think about because we won't always have the answers, but if you can say, and I can give you probably my response, and my response is showing who God is, but also loving and building, and just, I think a big part of what I do is trying to just build better relationships, because I think in a sense that will solve many of our things. If we deal with relationships between people, relationships between the family, relationships between workers, friends, parents, and children, because I think parents and children is probably the biggest relationship, because it'll affect how the child goes in and how they go into work, or how they go into their relationship or with their friends. So all this, so when it's me, it's to really probably love,
Absolutely.
so and you might have a different argument, unless you want to go and elaborate on that, what, or maybe you don't have an answer, and that's also fine, because I don't think our only purpose is to love as well.
Well, I
So
think that we are created. I'm a believer. I'm a Christian, so I believe that our whole, in all that we do, we all have a collective purpose, which is to worship. Our life is to bring. I don't just mean out of your mouth, "Oh, I worship you, I worship you," but my life should be that which worships, that gives worship unto my Creator, the very one that created me. And because of that, I believe that it, it helps us, like you said, to give out love, to be a conduit, if you will, one that transforms. So the love that I receive is the love that I give. The mercy that I receive is the mercy that I give. I'm to be a light in the earth, and one that shows the compassion and love to others the same way in which it's been given. I mirror, I reflect the God in which I serve. So my purpose and part of collectively as community, my portion in the earth is not to just get on my vision, stay here and focus, but it is to affect in this generation, the years that I'm alive, hopefully till I'm 89, 90 years old. For those many years, I should leave an imprint in the earth, and that should be a positive one. That which is left with showing seeds of love, kindness, mercy, gentleness. I'm a firm believer, when you get on your path and you're doing what it is you're supposed to do, everything you have will fall in place. It will line up. So then my portion is to be that giver and not taker. And so many times, because we get so lost or whatever, that you have so many people just pulling and selfish, and all they want to know is what's in it for me, what's in it for me. But you will be taken care of. But I believe that part of our collective purpose is to give into the earth and give into the world the very things that are inside of us to give, and multiply that. So show your seeds of love, and like I said, your seeds of kindness and goodness and mercy, and the world needs a lot of that. And your light, because the world can be a very dark, hurtful place. It can be a very heavy place. But when you find yourself purposely saying, I'm here to bring joy to somebody's life, and you consider that in your relationships when you go into, it's not about what I'm going in there to take. And as we hit on, even as women, especially when you have marital relationships, as a woman, you said what the purpose of a woman is, to help. So I'm here to pour into you. And in the same token, my needs will be met because your mindset should be as well. I'm here to give you and pour into you. So community wise, as far as purpose, we're all to give into, I believe that if we all had that, the world would be a much better place, and there would not be any lack, because even that which the government could not give, there's a sister or a brother or somebody that has it with them, that knows their purpose, and they're able to give that and pour out into that. So yes, I think there's that soul purpose individual, and then that community of women. What is your worship? What is your I want to say your purpose? What is that all together as one? As men in the earth, I feel the same way. Parental and children relationships. In turn, I produce and I have these kids and I pour into them, and in turn, what they give back as their portion and their purpose is the obedience and to follow, and then finding themselves in, and then becoming connected into that to give what their portion is for that family. So everybody does have a part. And like I said, unfortunately, in this world, we're taught to be so very selfish and self-centered that we only think about ourselves. But the world could work a lot better if everyone went into that community purpose and what my part is. And I can't do your part. It's like, community is like the body. There's the head, there's the feet, there's the toes, there's the ankle, there's the fingers, there's the ears. Every part collectively working together makes the body. One part, my ear alone, is not the body. My fingers alone is not. But when every part does their part in which they were created, once again, their purpose, the purpose of my hands is to pick up, to grab, to touch, to feel. As long as my hands are doing their part, and my ears are doing their part, and my legs are doing their part, and my mouth is doing its part, collectively, we form this whole great body that fulfills its purpose.
So you talked about how each person in the community, or not each person, but how people can sometimes switch their focus and it becomes more self-oriented or self-centered. And I think a big part of that is our drive for success. And sometimes we see that it becomes this crabs in a barrel mentality, that if they have it, then I can't have it, because is there enough spotlight for us? Is there enough money for all of us? Is there, so it becomes like just something that I have to take care of myself, but I always say how you get to the top is how you will continue to stay there. So if you get to the top by selfish ways and just trying to figure out about yourself, when you get there, nothing's really going to change, But if you grow and you're trying to help people, you care about the community, you're growing because of the community or because of what you're doing for the community, when you get to the top, hopefully your intentions or your mindset will be like, okay, I'm still for the community. I might be for a bigger community or a bigger group, right? So we talked about a lot. We talked about vision and purpose. We talked about what happens when you don't have it. We talked about the understanding of it. What exactly is purpose? And we kind of came down to a conclusion that maybe purpose isn't something that is so deep and this open-ended, but it can be something so simple. And maybe sometimes the fact that we're always overthinking purpose, that it may be and it may need to be more normalized, or something in society where it might just be something as simple as 1, 2, 3 or ABC, where we can just, this is purpose, and we begin to figure it out. But if we don't have purpose, maybe not beat ourselves up about it, because we are living and figuring out the purpose as we do. The purpose also of life is to live. Is to live and experience, So
Very good.
throughout that, I would just ask, what are any last comments that you would say to your audience? Anybody who doesn't know their purpose, or somebody who wants to figure it out, somebody who's just questioning more, or just any encouraging words as we go into this new year, so that we can start fresh and, kind of just take this weight off of ourselves that we've all been doing. And also with that, how can people get to you, because you've been giving a lot of gems and a lot of good advice. So how can people contact you?
Um, Once again, I'm grateful for to be here. Very glad to be here. It's a very good conversation. Needed, like I said in the beginning of the year. You hit something about success, and I just want to, hit that for a minute. We look at success, and once again, society has us thinking success is the big house, the big car, and all of this money. And to go back to Vikings once again, the one guy who was King Harold, his whole goal was to be the king of all of Norway. And he fought and he killed his own brother to be successful and all that. And then he got there and realized he didn't even like it. He didn't even want to be there. It was not all that it had cracked up to be because his motives and reason why. And that usually falls in line with the ego because you want people to look at me, I've obtained, as opposed to something wholesome and generic and, being just inside of you, that simple. Like you said, the simple purpose of life. Is to live and be the best you and manifest that in your life through your gifts and your calls. But because that success has been so defined in a lot of ways by what we see on Instagram, social media, TV, celebrity, and all of that, that when we see success, oh, to be successful, I have to get it here, and that drives us. And I would say, go back to the basics and look in your inner core. If you're one of those who really are desiring to find out what it is that your purpose is, I would say start with your inner, reflect. It's simple questions. Who am I? Define yourself, and what am I here for? And really say what's inside of me. What is it that I love to do? I heard one person say that you ask yourself, if money wasn't an issue and there was anything in the world that I could do, what would it be? What would I actually pay to do? I would pay to encourage people and be a blessing and strengthen them and build them up in empowerment. I love to do it. I walk away with a sense of fulfillment in that. And what brings fulfillment into your life? I would say start there. I am once again going to put a plug in for Dream Clouds because that is the vision and the purpose of Dream Clouds, to help you find. It's multifaceted, multi-phase, it's for those who know the vision and know their purpose but need help getting there, but it's also there to help people who don't have a clue. There are means out there, ways that you can find. There's quizzes that that we took to find your strongest points and the areas where you're most gifted at. There are things, but connect with people, find people. You see something, you be like, wow, I would love to do that. Find people in your group. Joy mentioned mentorship. I had a mentor, Janelle from Dream Cloud. They have mentorship. Mentorship is very, it's needed, it's beneficial, and it is in every area of your life. I believe you have a mentor's business wise, a mentor spiritually, a mentor in every area, someone who's gone through and is doing or has done what it is that you want to do, or you find the liking or connection to, that they can pour into you and help build you up. So find those keys. If you would like to connect, my Instagram, social media, I'm on Instagram, and it is the underscore QNA underscore. Also, you can email me, and that's Ardy, ARDYWLOVE, the number two, at gmail.com. Any of those two means, if you reach out and if there needs to be contact, I can also share a phone number as well. You can connect with myself, but there's many avenues that you can take to find that purpose and reason what's going to help you get going in the morning. And like I said, success doesn't mean money, but I do believe, once again, when you find your purpose, everything you ever have need of will be fulfilled in that. And that means you will not lack anything. If I could leave you, once again, with any last thoughts in finding your purpose, as I stated before, the saying you only live once is not true. You live every day, but this life you only get one. Make it the best that you get. This is a journey. And it ought to be lived in with joy. Of course, we hit obstacle bumps and thumps and all of that, but something inside of you, purpose and drive, should get you out, going to get you over those mountains, over those upheavals in your life, and keep you motivated to go. But it should be fulfilling. You should not wake up every morning and go, oh, I can't stand this and I hate this and why am I even here? You should wake up and say, I get to do this again. I get to live again. I get to conquer this again. I get to fulfill this again. I get to get another step closer to what it is that I see in my vision of what my life is supposed to look at.
Well, you heard it here first on purpose, 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 right? And then the purpose for Boujee's business is to elevate, motivate, and create. So I thank you for coming on here. My mother, Artist Cook, founder of QNA. I thank you for just really enlightening this crowd as we begin to talk about purpose and really step into this new year. So hopefully you guys were blessed with this message to you guys, with this words of advice, this words of wisdom. And I hope that you just continue to take it. You know, you guys have the Instagram, you guys have the social media. So make sure you guys follow. You guys follow the Q&A page, her page, my page, Boujee's business. Everything will be down below, so you can like, comment, and subscribe. And like I said, follow and share the word, because this year we are really going to take off. This is going to be a year of elevating, motivating, and creating with all the companies and the groups and the businesses that we have around us. So once again, I want to say thank you. And Happy New Year again, guys. Make sure that you guys tune in next week to the Relationship Podcast, and I will see you soon. And I don't know if you want to do it with me, but how we usually end is that's Boujee's business. So we can say that on the count of three, and that can be the end. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and that's Boujee's business. Thank you, guys.